This is Steve Lentini, and I'm your host for Different Thinking for Different Times. And this is Season 1, Episode 12. So I want to open up today's discussion about different thinking for different times with a quote from George Ivanovich Gurdjieff. In order to awaken, first of all, one must realize that one is in a state of sleep. And in order to realize that one is indeed in a state of sleep, one must recognize and fully understand the nature of the forces which operate to keep one in the state of sleep or hypnosis. It's absurd to think that this can be done by seeking information from the very source which induces the hypnosis. One thing alone is certain, that man's slavery grows and increases. Man is becoming a willing slave. He no longer needs chains. He begins to grow fond of his slavery, to be proud of it. And this is the most terrible thing that can happen to a man. Remember, you come here having already understood the necessity of struggling with yourself, only with yourself. Therefore, thank everyone who gives you the opportunity. And I want to pick up another quote from Osho, and it comes from his book, Let Go, A Darshan Diary is the name of the book. And he quotes Gurdjieff. Gurdjieff used to say, don't consider. And he's right. What others say is their business and their problem. It has nothing to do with you. Just look into your own nature, and whatsoever is joyous, go with it. That is your responsibility. You're not answerable to anybody. So going back to Gurdjieff's, the first quote that I read, where everyone must first realize that one is in a state of sleep. We don't have to look very far in today's society to see the state of sleep, where you have two sides of a political argument, both making each other wrong, and then in the end result is doing nothing or accomplishing nothing. And then you have people asleep that don't even consider the other side. And I'm not on either side of the argument. I'm in the middle, just enjoying the whole argument. Because one side points the finger at the other, and they're totally wrong, and they don't consider the opposite side. So both sides are doing that. And that's the indication of how asleep people are. And both sides think they're the woke part of it. As Obama said, if you think you're woke, when you're pointing out the flaws of others, or if you want others to live a certain way, you're not woke, because what you're doing is making the other side wrong. And this existence is about, can you imagine if we were all the same? No one would know they were alive. This existence is exactly about looking at what bugs us, rising above the automatic thought, which leads to the automatic response, and becoming the witness and the observer to our thinking and making new choices. Now, when I died on November 18th, 2002, I got to see what pure consciousness is like. And nothing from this small-minded world was there, which convinced me to come up with the idea of acorn brain, right? That the acorn represents our small-minded, tight thinking, and that nothing from here, nothing small-minded, even nothing from here was in the infinite when I was one with pure consciousness. There was no races, there was no sexes, there was no religion. Nothing from here was there. You immediately knew, I immediately knew anyway, and I always tell you to prove everything to yourself, and you'll have to wait for this moment. I hope you come back, but if you don't, I hope it's not tonight that you experience it or in the next second, but it could be, because I was here 1 second, gone the next. But what I can tell you from my experience is that nothing small-minded was there. That instantly I knew, without a body, that I was one with everything and nothing. That it was a knowing. I was one with pure consciousness. Then there was a life review, and only the good I had done, only the people I had helped, the lives I had touched were mentioned, flashed before me. And then I was asked, stay or go. And that's, of course, where I said, thy will be done, and surrendered into the moment fully. And it was a consciousness. When I say I responded, that was just my consciousness responded with thy will be done. It's not like I had a voice or a human body. I didn't. So why I got a second chance at life? I guess my work wasn't done. And that part of my work since that day has been to tell people. And basically, I've been telling people up until recently individually, as I meet people, as I help people, as I give money away, when people ask, because now I see everyone as God in disguise, the divine in disguise. It didn't matter what you call it, by the way. It didn't matter then, and it doesn't matter. I can tell you that from my experience. So there was no religion. There were no races. As I said, no sexes, no judgment, nothing from here, the small-minded thinking. It's humans that want people to pay for their mistakes in a cause and effect world, a cause and effect earth, and burn in hell forever. That is very small-minded thinking, and that was not where I was. There was none of that. There was just infinite mercy, infinite grace, infinite love. And the words don't describe what I experienced, right? I can give you the words because I have to. For this podcast, I have to give you the words as the basis for the story, but I can tell you it's way beyond our little acorn brain. And so, but what can we do about it here? And what we can do about it here is to begin to observe every place that we have that invitation, that small-minded thinking invitation, the invitation to get angry, the invitation to judge others, the invitation to want others to change, right? One group pointing out how the other shouldn't live a certain way. And you look at our political situation, both groups, both sides want the other to live their way. And really, then there's the extremes that get violent about it. And of course, they think they're the woke group. Both sides think they're the woke group, and neither are woke. Because, as Obama eloquently said, if you're woke, then you're certainly not pointing out the flaws of others and expecting them to live your way because you're perfect. Because no one here is. Every human being is far from perfect, and our job is to work on ourselves and raise ourselves with each lifetime. Now, I don't know if there's multiple lifetimes, but I suspect there are. Because it's a challenge to grow just a little bit in a lifetime. And some people never grow. They spend their whole life pointing out the faults of others, wanting others to live their way, and having a story about how others are wrong in their life. And it could be a spouse, it could be a job, it could be a political party, it doesn't have to be, it can be a race or a sex, it could be a sexual preference. One group making another group wrong because they both think differently. That's what they forget. They're both thinking differently, and neither side is right and neither side is wrong. They just are. Everything just is in this world. And it's our job to just allow the healthy expression of other people's journey, and it's our job only to work on ourselves. Gurdjieff also said, remember, you come here having already understood the necessity of struggling with yourself, only with yourself. Therefore, thank everyone who gives you the opportunity. And Osho says, Gurdjieff used to say, don't consider, and he's right. So pardon me if I'm repeating it because I think it's important. What others say is their business and their problem. It has nothing to do with you. Just look into your own nature, and whatsoever is joyous, go with it. That's your responsibility. You're not answerable to anybody. So while you can choose what brings you joy, that counts for everyone. To get to the space where you allow others to choose whatever brings them joy. It doesn't matter. Whatever religion brings them joy, whatever political stance they have that brings them joy, whatever sexual preference they have that brings them joy, whatever race or country they want to live in or language they want to speak, let them have their journey. And to work on yourself to develop that level of thinking above your thinking, because if you don't, if you believe every thought you have, you are stuck in that slavery that Gurdjieff talks about. You're stuck because you cannot grow until you develop a level of thinking above your thinking. And to merge into expansive thinking, the limitless thinking, not the small-minded, judgmental, tight-minded thinking that I call the acorn brain. And again, don't believe me. Don't believe anyone who tells you they found the way, but to make your life that experiment, right? Gurdjieff said, I ask you to believe nothing that you cannot verify for yourself. I didn't know that was one of his quotes until I started researching his quotes, and I've read a lot of his work, but I had not read that. And of course, I've been telling people for the last 17 years to not believe anything I tell them, but to experiment for themselves, that there is a level of thinking above their thinking, and that there's a level of joy that is amazing when we just let go of trying to change others and to just work on ourselves. Imagine that. Try that. Test that in your relationships. Test that at work. Test that with your spouse. Stop trying to change the person you live with and just change yourself and see what happens. So you don't have to go far to find the fodder for an experiment. Your life can be a lab. Gurdjieff said something else too that I love, is two things are in life are infinite: the stupidity of man and the mercy of God. And that's what I experienced without my body. And in my body, I continue to experience the stupidity of man and my own stupidity, because I notice I still have plenty of small-minded thinking. Anyone who tells you they have found the way, run away. I haven't found the way, but I'm working on it and noticing how much my life changes, how much of a difference that is made in my life when I change my thinking and become infinite with the mercy of God, right? That I can find infinite mercy for all those around me, and especially as I focus on myself and work on changing me, it's amazing how things change. So this is Season 1, Episode 12. If you have any questions, you can email me, steve@stevelentini.com, steve@steve, L-E-N-T as in Tom, I-N-I.com. If you'd like to come on the show, if you'd like to challenge me, if you know someone who's on a similar journey or a similar path or had a near-death experience like I did and wants to share the lessons that they learned, for me, it was all about surrender, and that the divine is in the now, and that it doesn't matter what you call it, and that nothing from here, you take nothing from here with you, that your achievements mean nothing on the other side, the homes you own, the money in the bank, nothing that you think has meaning or defines you is there, except for somehow the good you do in this life. Can you imagine if we all had a world where we recognized our job is only to do good with one another, right? To do our job, to do good where we work, do good in our relationships, do good with our family, but do good with our neighbors in our neighborhood. And you know how you feel when you do good. Now, this part, you'll have to take my word for it until you pass, which I hope isn't tonight or even this week. That the good you do is somehow etched onto the fabric of time. So have fun feeling good when you do good. And just do more good everywhere you go. Work to leave everything and everyone a little better than you find them in every moment. You'll truly find joy in your life, and you'll spread joy into the life of others. Thank you.